Almost 18 months ago, amid purple confetti and a perfectly rehearsed script, we heard the phrase that was supposedly going to redeem centuries of Mexican patriarchy. I didn't arrive alone. We all arrived together. How moving. How poetic. I almost cried, but from laughter. Because almost a year and a half later, the reality is very different. Reality, that stubborn lady who doesn't read press releases, has other facts, and they're facts that hurt, that burn, and above all, that get in the way of the official narrative. In this tragic comedy called Mexico, bullets are exchanged for concerts, and justice is measured in decibels. Because that's right, the Zócalo in Mexico City became the perfect stage for cynicism to dance to the rhythm of hips, which they say don't lie, even if the government does, and worse yet, where women really do cry. Let's get to it. Let's move to the crime section, which the government tends to ignore to keep morning press conferences looking good. The reality is that Mexico continues to be an open-air cemetery for women. Bodies found in remote areas, discoveries in clandestine graves, femicides in their own backyard, and so on. It's a macabre irony. We have a woman president, but we have the same crosses. The symbolism of a woman in power doesn't stop bullets or knives. Impunity is still the prosecutor's favorite perfume. But of course we all make it, even if some arrive in plastic bags. Let's talk about money, which is what really moves the world, and what women lack. They don't choose informal work for flexible hours, or because they love selling from catalogs. They do it because the formal job market sees them as a risk or a burden. Without Social Security, without decent childcare centers, the ones that were wiped out in an instant years ago, and without real opportunities, Mexican women are the queens of underemployment. It's a reality that limits their future. Meanwhile, the official discourse is full of talk about empowerment. Empowerment on paper. If you're a woman, you're already losing. But if you're a woman, indigenous, or a migrant, the score is 10-0, and the referee is bought. For them, the rule of law is an urban legend. They face human rights violations that would make any bureaucrat in Mexico City pale. For them, we all made it sounds like a mockery, in a language the government doesn't even bother to translate. Medical care during pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum is still, in many cases, an experience of obstetric violence or simply neglect. There are no medicines, there are no appointments, but hey, we have a female scientist president. I guess science isn't enough to keep a woman in the Sierra de Guerrero from dying of a treatable complication. In the Mexico of continuity with a woman's face, the recipe for forgetting is still the same as in Roman times, but now with a budget of millions of pesos and blonde hair. Just remember last March 1st when the Zócalo in Mexico City wasn't the center of social protest, nor the place to care for those who bear the weight of absence. No, it was the stage for 400,000 souls, many of them with empty stomachs but hearts beating, to celebrate that women no longer cry. What a fine irony, almost poetic. While Shakira was breaking attendance records and cashing in on her heartbreak, just a few meters away, metaphorically speaking, the searching mothers kept digging into the earth with their bare hands. Because in this country, women do cry. They cry a lot. But of course, it's easier to pay an international star to say that they're empowered than to open the doors of the National Palace to a mother who only wants to find a bone of her son to give him a proper burial. Let's talk about priorities. That word that seems not to exist in the dictionary of Claudia Scheinbaum and Clara Brugada. Do you know how much it cost us to bring the she-wolf of Barranquilla? No less than 40 million pesos. Free, they shout from the stage. Yeah, as free as the medicines that aren't available. Let's do some quick math because the data, those stubborn facts that can't be tamed, tell us that between 2018 and 2025 more than 80 million prescriptions went unfilled. But hey, don't complain about the lack of insulin. Shakira sang Antologia. Who needs chemotherapy when you can watch 400,000 people dancing while the healthcare system collapses? Besides, the official narrative says, "We all made it." A beautiful slogan, worthy of an advertising agency. But the reality is that not everyone made it. Ruby Gomez Tagle, the searching mother, didn't make it. Her femicide was added to the endless list of those who lose their lives searching for life. And I won't even mention the recent losses of women at the University of Morelos, because it makes me even angrier in Scheinbaum's Mexico. Insecurity isn't just a perception. It's a bloody statistic that the government tries to bury under confetti. Take note of these numbers. They'll make your skin crawl. In 2020, nearly 8,000 people disappeared. In 2023, more than 10,000. and in 2024, over 13,000. And for 2025, we end with a shocking number of 14,079. In the current context, that is, from 2025 to what has passed of 2026, an estimated rate of about 40 people disappearing per day has been recorded. Do you see the trend? It's a graph that rises faster than Narana's ego. But according to the manager of the National Palace, women can dream of being whatever we want, since many dream of being heard. But they run into a steel fence at a pop concert while we're distracted by the 2026 World Cup and the visit of Gianni Infantino. The narco-state, the one the United States is starting to dismantle by force, with the takedown of figures like Mencho, are they still recruiting our youth? Do you want raw data? Around 994,000 students dropped out in the last school year. And where do you think they go? The statistics are lethal. 250,000 children and teenagers are at risk of being recruited by organized crime. But of course, keep dancing to hits like Don't Lie. The country's future is being shaped in the mountains while we're taking selfies in Constitution Square. It's outrageously cynical that the city and federal governments use the banner of feminism to cover up the 22,944 murders of women recorded between 2019 and 2024. Just in January of this 2026, we've already had 54 femicides. February 20th was the most violent day of the year, with 66 homicides. And what do we get in return? It's women's time. Time for women to search alone, die alone, and be ignored together. The strategy is clear. If you can't give them security, give them a show. If you can't give them justice, give them a live broadcast on social media that looks really nice. In short, dear cultured and knowledgeable audience, we have a Madam President who came in with the discourse of sisterhood, but who seems to have locked the door as soon as she entered the National Palace. Inequalities aren't erased with feminine nouns. They're erased with budget, justice, honesty, and nothing about oneself. Almost a year and a half in, the presidential seat has a woman's name. But the streets still smell of fear, and the land still smells of clandestine graves. But don't worry, because the lady always comes out with that fake smile to say that everything is going wonderfully. If you don't see it, you're just a heartless conservative attacking her government. This is the summary of a country that prefers the submission of the masses to the rhythm of a current hit song, rather than the political rebellion that demands transparency. Shakira is already gone. The record was broken, but the hole in the ground and in the hearts of thousands of Mexican families is still there, waiting for an answer that doesn't come in the form of a playboy. Thanks for joining me in this reality bath. Remember that here we don't sugarcoat the truth, because the truth is already pretty beaten up as it is. I say goodbye, but not before reminding you that in Mexico, if you disappear, you're just a number that gets in the way of the next big free event photo. Stay positive, even as the ground sinks beneath us.
Remember that you can make your donations via PayPal. You can find the information in the comment section. Thanks to you, this channel stays active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive notifications whenever there's new content. Thank you.